final match of Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League round of 16 first leg, and we might have saved the very best for you for last. It is a true matchup of champions as Herediano, champions of the Concacaf League, and Apertura in the Primera Division in Costa Rica, play host to the reigning MLS Cup champions and the Major League Soccer darlings of the United States, Atlanta United, in what should be a terrific 90 minutes of football and an even better 180 minutes over the course of these two legs. Tyler Terrence on hand, thank you so much for joining us for this momentous occasion. As you can see, Atlanta United have traveled extremely well for a match that's going to be played in very comfortable conditions, hovering around 70 degrees and a very minimal chance of rain as we progress through tonight's match. Atlanta United coming off of an unbelievable Major League Soccer season, breaking attendance records left and right, and outselling the Super Bowl at Mercedes-Benz, as we learned that just a few weeks ago. We'll take a look at the 2019 tournament bracket. Sporting Kansas City had a wonderful performance at home at Children's Mercy against Toluca. The third and final goal in a 3-0 win was an absolute screamer. Go check it out on the Champions on Twitter if you have not just yet. Costa Rica teams so far have done well. Saprissa with an upset victory over Tigres in the first leg a couple days ago, as Johan Venegas was able to get the game winner about midway through the second half. Herediano have been around the block when it comes to this tournament. They're usually one of the Costa Rican teams that emerges. Obviously, with the new rule in place, Central American teams will now have to fight their way through CONCACAF League. Winning your domestic league will not get you to this point. So Herediano very much out to make a statement after stumbling in the round of 16 a year ago to Tigres. They had an unbelievable comeback in a 2-2 draw against Andre Pierre Gignac and Tuca Ferretti a year ago, where they scored 2 goals in the final 5 minutes of play, but would fall down in Monterrey in the second leg. For Atlanta United, obviously after just their second season in Major League Soccer, they are debutants when it comes to this tournament, and they have a number of young players who are getting their start in CONCACAF Champions League, and obviously the rest of the Atlanta United team, although they do have a little bit of experience in that department. Arthur Blank, the owner of Atlanta United, is in the building tonight, and a number of Atlanta United fans who have made the trip down to Costa Rica for what should be an unbelievable night of football. Two of the best support groups in all of CONCACAF come crashing down into Heredia as we are just a few moments away from kickoff here in Costa Rica, as Herediano are not doing extremely well in the Costa Rican Domestic League at the moment, currently sitting in 9th place after a bit of a slow start at 3-3-3 on 12 points. Actually sit behind Alajuelense. They're champions of the Apertura stages. They got into the playoffs as the 4 seed. Only 4 teams make it, and the top 4 of their Primera Division, and they were able to sneak their way through in penalties in the semifinals and penalties in the finals as well. And they were able to load up during the winter transfer window. 6 new players for Herediano under their new coach, Hernan Medford. And of course, Atlanta United under new tutelage as well in Frank de Boer, who had an unbelievable playing career. He had a number of stops managing. And this Atlanta United team is going to start to learn what life after Tata Martino, who took over the Mexican national team job, is going to look like, as well as Miguel Almiron and a couple of defenders as well. More on that later. Right now, the players are making their way out onto the field. It's Herediano of Costa Rica playing host to Atlanta United of Major League Soccer and the United States. Here in Herediano, as we'll take a look at the home side starting 11. Daniel Cambronero is going to be the starting keeper for Hernan Medford, who's just a few weeks into his coaching career with Herediano. Pablo Salazar is going to be holding down the back line and running the defense for Herediano, who are going to be playing a similar three-back system to Atlanta United, a little bit different. As we get a look at our two captains for tonight, between Pablo Salazar and Michael Parkhurst, as Cesar Ramos is our head referee for tonight's match, hailing from Mexico. Atlanta United going to be in their white and slightly orange kits, and on the other side for Herediano in their red and yellow. Here's the starting 11 for Frank de Boer's side in his debut as the manager of the reigning MLS Cup champs. Brad Guzan, the wily veteran, is going to be starting in between the sticks. Michael Parkhurst, we mentioned before, the captain, he's going to be along the back line, and holding it down in the middle of that three-back system is the youngster Miles Robinson. And George Bello, the 17-year-old, getting the start out on the left wing, along with the reigning MVP of the Copa Lib Finals from River Plate, Pity Martinez, who is pegged as the replacement for Miguel Almiron after moving over to Newcastle in a MLS record-breaking transfer fee. However, replacing Almiron might not exactly be the right words, but perhaps just filling in a designated player's spot might be a better choice. As we take a look at the substitutes available for both teams, Alacon's the backup keeper for Atlanta United. Darlington Nagbe, obviously a great option off of the bench as you get an up-close and personal look at the Dutch manager, just 48 years of age, Frank de Boer. Had a great playing career, of course, with Ajax, Barca, Galatasaray, Rangers, Al Rayyan. 112 caps for the Dutch national team. Obviously made stops at Crystal Palace and a number of other teams in his managerial career. And he is trying to make his mark in Major League Soccer, saying they're not going to be afraid to rotate, and they're not going to be afraid to play young players in this type of tournament as they're knocking on the door of MLS regular season. But their debut in CONCACAF Champions League is just a few seconds away from taking place. And of course, all eyes will be on this Atlanta United team across the United States as the reigning MLS Cup champions. Herediano have been there and done that in this tournament, but looking for more success after hosting the CONCACAF League Trophy just a few months ago. As we're officially underway from Heredia. Again, I'm Tyler Terrence. Thank you so much for joining us for what should be a fabulous 90 minutes ahead. Joseph Martinez, sporting number 7 for Atlanta, shattering the MLS single-season record for goals scored. As Jimmy Marin, who is voted the best young player in CONCACAF League. And for those not familiar with CONCACAF League, simply just the Euros, as that's a good ball sent in and a near opportunity for Herediano. And going crashing into the net is Aldo Magana. And how about Jimmy Marin and the skill here, as Arellano whipping in a teasing ball. And Magana had a great chance to put Herediano up early and to send Heredia into a frenzy. And Hernan Medford looking on and knowing that that was a golden chance to really try to put their stamp on this game. And of course, with all these MLS teams only have been together for about a month, and particularly for Atlanta United under a new coach. Can't stress that enough. And our new style of play is showing good strength on the ball is Pity Martinez. Trying to slot it through, looking for Joseph Martinez, and quickly off of his line is Daniel Cambronero, and already a great pace and rhythm to this game. And it has Frank de Boer up and out of his seat in a hurry. And it'll be an Herediano throw-in. Taking down FC Motagua in CONCACAF League, just the equivalent to the Europa League over in the UEFA. As the foul will go against Herediano. Argentinian Barco shielding off the defender. Herediano looking sharp to start things. And good defensive work from Jeff Lorenowitz. However, last touch off of Atlanta United. Atlanta going 21-6-7 during the MLS regular season a year ago, actually tying Toronto FC's record of 69 points, but obviously outdone by New York Red Bulls, who ended up winning the Supporters' Shield and setting a record of their own at 71 points. And the foul against Atlanta again. And a physical start to this one here in Heredia. Red Bulls actually coming away with a 2-0 win on the road last night against Atletico Pantoja of the Dominican Republic. An own goal and a Daniel Royer goal, able to do the job as another fizzing ball in and handled by Brad Guzan. 34-year-old keeper from Evergreen Park, Illinois, in his third season. PT up for the header. Here's Julian Gressel. PT Martinez linking up with Joseph Martinez. Good chance here. Lorenowitz probing. Gonzalez Perez stepping forward. Barco keeping it moving. Gressel knocking it back across. Joseph Martinez on the turn. And easy work for Cambronero again. Luis Diaz. Somehow able to turn on his Keisher Fuller. However, stood up by George Bello, the 17-year-old from Douglasville, Georgia. Lorenowitz gives it away in the middle of the park. Herediano doing well to stay with it. Jimmy Marine could be off and running. Cuts it back to his right. Still Marine, but right at Guzan. Well, if Atlanta didn't already know from the scouting report, Jimmy Marine, a very technical and creative player in the attacking third. Scoring 2 goals in the Concacaf League Finals in the first and second leg. Joseph Martinez encouraging Gressel forward. Really open pace to this, and Gressel has stood up. Scintillating football on either end. Gressel after the Herediano turnover. And Parkhurst will go all the way back. Guzan just a few yards away from home. Barco just trying to settle things down. Heavy touch, still trying to stay with it. And one by Granados. Jimmy Marine on the ball again. Look how quick he is with it. Marine trying to slip it through. And Ortiz couldn't quite get a foot to it. Clever, more room for Atlanta to run. Barco, Bello to his left. Elects for Joseph Martinez, could fall for PT here. And a late challenge from the Argentinian from River Plate. Not too much in it, but certainly some contact and enough for Granados to go down. And here was the chance on the other end as Jimmy Marine has been all over the map thus far for Herediano. He had an incredible backheel assist to Ortiz in the first leg of the CONCACAF League Final, and then scored the game winner in the 85th on the road in Honduras against FC Motagua. As that's a poor mistake at the back. Here's the chip attempt, and it's in for Herediano. A mistake that's punished by Jose Ortiz, and Herediano have a lead inside the first 10 minutes. Well, nerves and adrenaline have been of a plenty in the first 8 minutes of this match, and you just had a feeling there was a goal coming, but you didn't quite think that it would come from a mistake of that severity. Bello did well, and then the header back from Gonzalez Perez didn't have nearly enough juice on it. And Ortiz with terrific instincts, beating Guzan to the ball. The veteran keeper had no choice but to come off of his line. You could see the look from Gonzalez Perez as soon as he headed it back to his keeper. He knew it was a massive mistake, and Ortiz sacrificed his body, put everything forward, and gets the ultimate reward. And look what it means to the Herediano fans and to the new manager, Hernan Medford. We mentioned Ortiz had a big goal in the Concacaf League final first leg. Now a huge goal in the round of 16 in the Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. How big will it prove to be? Only time will tell. And now Atlanta United already had a large task on the road in a hostile environment that they have never played in before. They did have a friendly against Tijuana, trying to get ready for this tournament, beat them 5-1, but a number of their reserves were playing as Guzan trying to keep this in play. And he's able to do so, and you can see Brad Guzan is livid with his back line. Miles Robinson, Michael Parkhorst, and Gonzalez Perez all still trying to get settled. And Eric Remedy able to draw the foul on Granados. Gressel stripped by Omar Herediano. And Gressel has a word with the assistant referee, claiming that the last touch came off of the Mexican from Guadalajara. And how much does that early goal change the tactics of Frank de Boer moving forward? Renowitz stood up. And the wily veteran Randall Azofeifa, 34-year-old from San Jose, Costa Rica, in his 5th season with Herediano. His 23rd start on the season, 2 goals. Ended up appearing in 45 matches for the Costa Rican outfit a year ago, wearing number 12 for Herediano, and scoring 13 goals as well. There's Joseph Martinez able to connect the dots. Remedy finding George Bello, 17-year-old, opening things up. Bello trying to weave his way out of traffic. And does well to at least win a throw-in for Atlanta. And watched ever so closely by Keisher Fuller. If there's one thing that you can say for these Herediano teams, regardless of who the manager is, and one thing that remains consistent, is that they're always an extremely athletic team along the back line. A lot of pace, a lot of size, and make it extremely difficult for the opposition to break down. Miles Robinson with a clearance that only gets as far as Granados. Bello coming back for defensive responsibilities. And Remedy able to turn out of trouble. Here's Barco. Gressel getting forward again, like he so often does. And Barco is trying to slip it back through for the German. And the clearance only as far as Lorenowitz. And Parker is forced to go negative. Miles Robinson, just 21 years of age, from Arlington, Massachusetts. P.T. Martinez tripped up. And a set-piece opportunity now for Atlanta, and P.T. calling the big bodies forward, saying, let's get some delivery in the box. Well, what a start just in terms of the pace and the rhythm to this one. I think everybody around CONCACAF, particularly in Costa Rica and the United States, was expecting a wide open game, and that's exactly what they've gotten, at least in the first 13 minutes. PT, not a bad ball, and Kaner Brown just has to knot it away. And another chance for Atlanta from the set piece. Herediano organizing for the home side. PT and Barco over it. Just to draw out some Herediano defenders. PT, great whipped in ball. It's won by Herediano and Omar Arellano. Gressel, another big run forward. Loves to do that from that wing back position. PT on that magical left foot. Locked in front by Azofeifa. Barco. Lorenowitz. Seconds could fall for Barco here. It's off his head, didn't know much about it. Bello might be able to sneak through. And shielded off by Granados. Herediano knowing that this is their chance to try to counter. But Atlanta do a good job of just sort of clogging up those holes and not allowing them to play out of the pressure. Arellano after the seconds. Julian Gressel quickly picks it up and sort of forces the hand of the referee. However, I think that the last touch came off of the wing back. Good ball sent forward. PT in a 1v1 situation. Atlanta fans loving what they're seeing. PT still with it. Losing defenders left and right. Gressel coming forward again. Barco. Still Barco. Credit to Herediano to force him backwards. And Parkhurst quickly releases. Lorenowitz with good body position. Trying to make the turn, loses his footing, and it'll go the other way. 35-year-old from Westchester, Pennsylvania, in his third season with Atlanta as well. Been there from the beginning. Truly is an Iron Man. Over 400 appearances in Major League Soccer. And Kevin Coleman, his former teammates and now Philadelphia Union and Major League Soccer U19 coach, said, "It is amazing, but it's no surprise when you think about the way that Jeff takes care of himself and approaches the game like the true professional that he is." PT's seen a lot of the ball. Finding Barco. Another menacing Atlanta attack. What will it come to? In this instance, nothing, as there was a crunching tackle put in on the Argentinian. Excellent ball in for Barco. Excuse me, that was Joseph Martinez, and Martinez able to draw the foul. Maybe he hasn't gotten the delivery that he's used to, but Martinez very much an opportunist, and it only takes one chance for him to bury it. 35 goals when it was all said and done in the 2018 Major League Soccer season. 31 in the regular season, records in both, 6 assists to go with it, 3 hat-tricks, 3 MVPs. Regular season, the Cup final, and the MLS All-Star game as well. Eric Remedy is getting a stern talking to from Cesar Ramos, our Mexican referee. Remedy's claiming that the wall should be pushed a little bit further back as PT takes a shot that brushes off a deflection. And another corner coming up for Atlanta, who have settled in nicely after the opening goal from Herediano, and I'm sure will be kicking themselves, particularly Leandro Gonzalez-Perez, who you could argue was solely responsible for the Herediano goal. Let's see what PT was trying to do and just wrap it around the two-man wall. It'll be an in-swinger from Barco. Lofted in. Gressel on the first time. made decent contact with it, but Cambronero saw it the entire way out of play. And a goal kick for the Costa Rican club. Gressel has really emerged as one of the unsung heroes of this Atlanta United team, and obviously with all the attention towards Almiron, Joseph Martinez, as well as Barco. Gressel is somebody who does so many of the little things and making runs that might not necessarily result in getting the ball, but opens up space for his comrades. Diaz. A couple of oles from the crowd here at Heredia. Lorenowitz comes away with it. Parkhurst has to scramble to get there. Eludes Jimmy Marine. Martinez goes to ground. Herediano able to escape it. Now's Robinson stepping forward. Eric Remedy pulling the strings now. Piti. Floated over to the right-hand side. Gressel on the first time, looking for Martinez, and Cambronero hangs on to it. Diaz pushing it forward. Keisher Fuller. Ortiz making a run. Fuller taking it himself, now finding Ortiz, and he's offside. How sharp was that counterattack, with the exception of a little over-eager run there from Ortiz, and Herediano fans who were sitting right there level with the last defender from Atlanta might be in disagreement with the assistant referee. PT lets it fly straight into the back of Pablo Salazar, the captain for Herediano. Ball sent ahead. Dealt with well by Miles Robinson. And Herediano slowly but surely making their way up the field. In for Marine. Gressel spinning out of trouble. Salazar. Kuzan's off of his line. It's too far in front of George Bello. United, of course, taking the soccer world by storm in the United States, not only for their terrific play on the field, but the support that they were able to muster up off the field and in Mercedes-Benz, which unfortunately will not be the site of the second leg. Rather, will be in Kennesaw, as Jimmy Marine tried to chip it in. Marine around Remedy. Good ball through. Ortiz is there. Did it travel over the line? Yes, it did. Goal kick coming for Atlanta. turned around. Salazar. Clean football from Herediano in the build-up. Fuller. And look at the pace of Diaz. Even better defending from Gonzalez-Perez. However, a corner won by Herediano. Good football all the way around. How about this atmosphere here in Heredia? Could we expect anything less? Martinez trying to win it. The corner got all the way through. And PT quite able to get there. Barco met by a crunching challenge from Kaner Brown. Guzan off of his line. Ortiz almost had a second, but it's cleared away. I believe it was Miles Robinson who saved the goal. And Jose Ortiz, it is a head scratcher. Did not time that header well, but how about this challenge from Brown? Welcome to Concacaf Champions League. And with Guzan in no man's land, Ortiz had a gaping net. And it's one of those ones where you try to snap it so hard that it ends up coming off your shoulder. And Hernan Medford knows that that easily could have been two and should have been two. Brown just lofts it back in. Ortiz trying to turn on it. Fuller trying to find Diaz. They are waving his flag furiously. And a free kick coming up for Herediano. And this game has gone in waves like most fluid football games do. In the first 5-10 minutes, it was anybody's guess as to who had the edge, and then eventually Herediano capitalizing on that Gonzalez-Perez mistake. Then it was Atlanta who had a nice spell of about 5 to 10 minutes of menacing play, and now it's Herediano who have been on the front foot. Good ball in, sneaks all the way through. Salazar got a touch to it. Cleared away, I believe it was Gressel. Granados, look at that little sidestep. Granados stands one up, and Joseph Martinez brings it down, able to clear it only as far as Marine. Eric Remedy with solid work in the middle of the field. And he is fouled by Keisher Fuller to slow up the counterattack. A tactical foul at that from Fuller. Remedy saying that there should be a card involved. Fuller knew exactly what he was doing. It's the final match of the round of 16, first leg slate. Sporting Kansas City and Toluca finished up 3-0 at Children's Mercy. A dominant performance from start to finish from Peter Vermees' club. And a mountain of a task for Toluca. Heading back to Mexico next week. We'll be in Atlanta next week for this affair. And some other interesting contests as well to conclude. Herediano. Granados wasn't a bad idea. In for Joseph Martinez. And Those are the types of plays where he can really burn you because that first touch is on point. There's not much help in the back for Herediano with the exception of the keeper, Daniel Cambronero. Lorenowitz up for the header. Seconds and thirds won by Granados as Azofeifa was trying to send it over the top, and Miles Robinson got tied up with Jose Ortiz. And a late whistle now by Cesar Ramos. Not sure if there's a ton in that. You saw the conversation that Parkhurst was having with Miles Robinson and Cesar Ramos right in the vicinity. Into the 30th minute. It's a four-man conversation as to exactly how the set piece is going to go down. Azofeifa, Jimmy Marin, Keisher Fuller all in the mix. Marin only 21 years of age. Azofeifa standing right next to him, 34. Marin, good ball. Guzan with a diving stop. Still loose in front, and Guzan gets a second touch to it. Clever set piece from Herediano. And it almost worked to perfection. A delicate teasing ball into the corridor of uncertainty. And if it's not for Brad Guzan, and a heroic effort to get a second touch to that, it could easily be 2-0. Corner in again, Joseph Martinez back for defensive responsibilities. Again, Tyler Terrans on hand. Herediano with a 1-0 lead thanks to a goal from Jose Ortiz after a disastrous mistake from Gonzalez Perez in the 8th minute from Heredia, Costa Rica. Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League round of 16 first leg action between Atlanta United and Herediano as Julian Gressel trying to rid a pesky Omar Arellano. Things are getting testy over in the Herediano technical area, along with the fourth official. Emotions running extremely high for Herediano, who are not doing particularly well in their domestic league and loaded up during the winter transfer window in anticipation for the big workload that was in front of them. Piti trying to go back for Bello. Cleared away by Fuller. Last touch coming off of Barco. I'll tell you what, for a team that played over the weekend in a emotional draw with Perez Zeledon, Herediano look extremely fit and ready to compete. The challenge from Barco. Beautiful football from Atlanta United to play out of pressure, and the commentators' curse in full effect there. Meanwhile, Jimmy Marin throwing the double team on the near side. Parkhurst defending, and Michael Parkhurst getting the better of the youngster. However, an awkward bounce falling right back for the 21-year-old. Marin putting the moves on again. Still Jimmy Marin on his feet. And it's knocked away by Miles Robinson, but how about the blue-collar effort from Jimmy Marin? As Marin just looking for the valve so he can hit this as sweetly as possible. He's had a scrumptious first half. And Guzan able to hang on to it. Piti wanted a handball. It popped right up on Arellano, and it seemed to be right in front of the AR. Magana winning it. Parker settling it Gressel showing good strength and pace. And trying to bend it in behind that back line, who have been sturdy in the opening 33.5 minutes or so. Herediano, Salazar, and Granados away from pressure. Ortiz playing it through. Azofeifa onside, 2-0. Azofeifa! Oh, it's incredible from Herediano. Back to front football, and it's capped off with a second goal on the night, and it's the veteran Randall Azofeifa who doubles Herediano's delight. Well, you thought that it might have been one too many one-touch passes, but it was the perfect recipe. They got a little fortunate with the bounce after the challenge, but look at the patience from Ortiz, and the ball forward is just delightful. And then Azofeifa, a little shimmy, a little shake. Wrong foot's Brad Guzan. Could have elected to go to the side, but the veteran, knowing that he wants to take matters into his own hands, and just listen to the Eladio Rosabel Cordero. So who could have predicted this? Atlanta United down 2-0 in the 36th minute. But fair play to the Costa Rican outfit, because they have done extremely well when given the opportunity. And while Atlanta might have more of the possession and perhaps the better of the play, Herediano have been ruthless in the attacking third. I think they want more in Heredia. Barco, oh, he's done really well here. And taken down, and the foul going against Barco. It was good pursuit in the end from Luis Diaz, one of the new signings for Herediano, which are proving to pay dividends. Aldo Magana, who seems to be holding the ball up extremely well up front, along with Jose Ortiz, and playing off the likes of Jimmy Marine. Another here for Herediano, possibly. It's Fuller stopped in his tracks. Joseph Martinez finding Barco. He's been excellent when on the ball, turning defenders inside out. Barco's still on it. Perhaps one too many touches, but bailed out by the whistle. Barco was probably fouled at least one or two times before the ensuing whistle came, but Herediano not pleased. How will Atlanta United respond? Down 2-0 on the road in a hostile environment in a tournament they have never participated in before. There was always going to be adversity. And as Carlos Bocanegra, the VP and technical director, stated when introducing Frank de Boer not too long ago, said that they are going to have a target on their back the entire season and even further than that because of what they accomplished in 2018. As Martinez tries to take it on the first time, loose in front, has to be now, but it's offside. And Atlanta United can't believe it. It's 100% the right call, because the shot from Gonzalez Perez hit off of an Atlanta United player who's standing on the goal line in an offside position. Watch Lorenowitz. It's fine until this moment here when Lorenowitz gets a touch to it. Unbelievable. Chalk that up as unlucky for the visitors. Remedy taken down by Azofeifa. And Atlanta starting to pound on the door again. PT finding Barco. Positive first touch. Was he fouled? Cesar Ramos not interested. But certainly interested in that one as Jimmy Marine. Sent ahead for Ortiz. Parkhurst able to shield it out. What a first half here in Costa Rica. Controversy, mistakes, disallowed goals due to bizarre offside calls, but certainly a warranted one. Everything and more you could want from the beautiful game from a third-party standpoint. However, if you're on the Atlanta side, not the first half you were looking for. Gressel trying to change all that. It takes a deflection and it's in. Atlanta United off and running in the Champions League. And it's Julian Gressel who will get credit for it. They've been knocking on the door. They finally get rewarded. And they have a huge away goal. 2-1 here in Heredia. Well, the initial shot certainly looked good from Gressel. You have to imagine that Cambronero had it covered. And while the football gods certainly were not smiling down on Atlanta on that previous disallowed goal on the offside, which was just simply unlucky, they are just the football gods. And it all seems to even out in the end as it comes wildly ricocheting off the backside of Pablo Salazar, and Atlanta fans rejoice. And even if the result stays the same, it's much more manageable with the away goal heading back to Atlanta in a week's time, but still plenty of football to be played. Look at the big switch from Parkhurst. Bello, positive first touch. What does a 17-year-old have in store? Not a bad idea trying to whip it in, and Joseph Martinez certainly appreciates the effort from the Douglasville native. You think about Barco at 19 years of age, Miles Robinson at 21, Bello at 17. I think Frank de Boer meant it when he said he wasn't going to be afraid to play young players. Pity Martinez, magical, trying to slot it through, but Brown stepping forward. It's a clearance that could end up working out as an assist if not for Parkhurst stepping in. Tell you what, Barco has taken a number of knocks tonight already. As Atlanta try to go quickly, Gressel again the intended target. I don't know if there would be many parts of the field that Jimmy Marine has not covered yet in his first half alone. Here he is again causing more issues. Marine trying to go through Lorenowitz. Remedy feeling the pressure nicely. Gonzalez Perez. Ahead for Ortiz. Miles Robinson appears to have it covered, at least for the time being. Ortiz with the big switch. Good cover from Gonzalez Perez. They look much more cohesive from the Atlanta United back line. Referee says play on after Barco gets tripped up yet again. Pity looking for Martinez. And again, the Venezuelan. A round of applause for the effort, but the execution still just right around the corner, as we'll have 1 minute of stoppage time. Gressel trying to get away from Marine. He somehow got a touch to it. As Ofefa, one of the 2 goals for Herediano tonight. And Herediano happy to head into the dressing room and perhaps tweak a couple things here and there with the scoreline as it is. Not wanting to see Atlanta possibly counter for a last-second equalizer before the halftime whistle. Gonna give it a go anyway. Herediano. Marine. And that's gonna do it for the first half. 3 goals in 45 minutes. Action-packed and filled with all sorts of storylines and talking points. It started with the Gonzalez Perez mistake and the Ortiz goal. Then it was Atlanta who had a solid spell of possession and chances. And then a quick counterattack and really just beautiful football from start to finish from Herediano, playing out of pressure in a multitude of spots. Finished off by Randall Azofefa. A goal disallowed from Atlanta United after a bizarre offsides call. And then it would be Julian Gressel scoring the opening goal for Atlanta United in their Concacaf Champions League campaign. And 2-1 is how we finish in the first 45 minutes. When we come back, we'll have highlights and stats from the first half and, of course, the conclusion of this first leg between Herediano and Atlanta United. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back in a few moments.
incómodo, cada vez lo hace más incómodo. Adelante, gracias.
Welcome back to Herediano, Costa Rica. Tyler Terran's on hand. First half highlights, and if you're just joining us, we'll help you out a little bit and wrap up exactly what went down. This is in the first 30 seconds. That ball in from Omar Herediano, and you could see from the very start of this one that it was going to be high energy, high flying, and a ton of talent. And speaking of talent, Jimmy Marine is really special, and I have a feeling he will not be at Herediano for long. He'll get snatched up in a heartbeat because his ability on the ball, his vision, and his creativity make him almost impossible to deal with in the attacking third. Here's the opening goal. Gonzalez Perez trying to head it back to Brad Guzan. Ortiz, an opportunist at his very finest, and really, that's just all instinct. Guzan coming off of his line, knew he only had one avenue, and that was taking the high road, and the high road he took. What a finish from Ortiz in that sort of spot. You'll see a lot of players snatch at it and not make the most of that sort of chance, but it sent Herediano on their way, off and running, and then it was almost a second for Ortiz. Guzan came off of his line, wasn't sure whether he'd be able to get there, and Ortiz, like sometimes you'll see all across the world really at any level, players who will sort of snatch at it with their head and it'll hit off their shoulder. Meanwhile, more chances for Herediano. This was a design set piece. Jimmy Marine with a little dink inside. And it's worth a few more looks because Brad Guzan got not one but two saves to a very important set piece defense. Here's the second goal. Jose Ortiz holding things up. The lead up to it really was probably the best part. There was about 7 or 8 one-touch passes from Herediano, playing at a pressure not once, not twice, but 3 different times. And Ortiz with the patience and the vision to find the veteran Azofeifa, and as cool as you would like. Watch this little shoulder fake. Nothing crazy, just wrong puts Guzan so that he can slot it into the left corner. And Herediano up 2-0 and thought that they were well on their way to a controlling lead heading back to Kennesaw next week. However, Atlanta United, reigning MLS Cup champions and one of the best offensive teams to ever come through Major League Soccer, they were always going to find one. You thought this was it, but one of the more bizarre plays you'll ever see. We won't get a second look, but we'll get a couple looks at this, and it's finally the Atlanta goal. Julian Gressel trying to get it on his left foot, got a good shot away, going for the curler, trying to beat Cambronero, but Gressel finding the backside of Pablo Salazar. The football gods are just, and all is right in the world, as Atlanta should have gotten one after that Lorenowitz debacle in front. Gonzalez Perez was involved as well. And Julian Gressel, the first ever goal for Atlanta United in the Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. And you can see what it means. While they might not get the result as it stands, the away goal will prove to be invaluable moving down the stretch, and that would do it for the first half. Is that enough highlights for you? Plenty of entertainment. And we'll take a look at the numbers from the first 45 minutes between these two terrific clubs who have incredible followings. The atmosphere here at Eladio Rosabel Cordero has been second to none. And Atlanta United have held their own with a very young Well, albeit a few veterans sprinkled in there as well, and inexperience when it comes to Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. Atlanta United, as we predicted, have the majority of possession, but only by a slim margin. Shots and shots on goal, almost dead even. Plenty of fouls between the two teams, 14 to be exact. 3 corners for Herediano to Atlanta United's 2. And the numbers speak for themselves in terms of what's been a very even first half. And if you take out the Gonzalez-Perez debacle, you have yourselves a 1-1 game. And we should have more fireworks in the second half, you would hope. 3 goals in the first 45 minutes. Where do we go from here? Stick around and you'll find out. Second half kickoff and the conclusion of this first leg right around the corner.
Vamos buscando el concesado, papá, dale. Dale, dale, hay que buscar el otro, hay que buscar el otro.
Vamos. Vamos, tiene que hacer otra.
Está bien metido ahí, papá, atrás, dale.
Vamos, pasito con todo, papi. Vamos, Aso, vamos, negro. Vamos.
Dale.
Vamos, Heredia, vamos. Vamos, Ortiz. Ortiz. Vamos, Ortiz. ¡Huevos, Magaña, vamos!
Moments away from second half kickoff between Herediano and Atlanta United. 3 goals in the first 45 minutes, plenty to talk about, and we hope you were able to catch your breath during the intermission because I have a feeling this is going to continue in the second half. Atlanta surely have the momentum going into the second 45 minutes after the Julian Gressinger goal, which got them off the schneid in the Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League just in their 3rd year of existence and already making waves in international play and are right now in a dogfight with Herediano, who have a number of players who have well over 20 appearances in this tournament. Meanwhile, for Atlanta United, you have a 17-year-old in George Bello and a couple of newcomers as well who are just making their debut for Atlanta United, including Pity Martinez, who sort of acting replacement for Miguel Almiron, who went over to Newcastle United for a record transfer fee of well over $20 million. Tata Martino moving on to the Mexican national team. Garza, McCann moving on as well. New center back in Miles Robinson, sort of getting a feel as to what it's going to be like to perhaps be in a starting 11 role on a week-in, week-out basis, as Robinson showing some good strength there, got turned around, and it's going to come out the other way, and that has the Herediano fans up in arms. Jimmy Marin can't help but shrug it off. As you get a look at who's on the field for both sides at the bottom of your screen. Miles Robinson only appeared in 10 matches last season with Atlanta United, starting in 3 of them. He had 13 starts and 13 appearances for the USL Championship side, 2nd division in the United States for Atlanta United 2. More or less their reserves as Joseph Martinez finding Barco. And you had George Bello making a darting run on this near side, out of position. And now Herediano could have space on the counter. Closed down quickly is Luis Diaz by Remedy. No foul called. And that is an extremely late challenge on Randall Azofeifa, and that should warrant a yellow card. And it does. Azofeifa, the goal scorer, and the veteran for Herediano, shown mustard here in the 47th minute, as that was more than tardy. Probably should have been a foul called here. However, Luis Diaz went down way too easily off the shove from Eric Remedy, and then this second challenge is just nothing but retribution. And Hernan Medford is making the claim that I'm sure everybody watching at home can decipher for themselves. What about the first one? It's never the first act that gets caught, but always the retaliation. Eric Remedy had a very solid first half. Mid-season acquisition for Atlanta a year ago on June 26th. Coming over from Banfield in Argentina. Started all 5 postseason games for Atlanta United in the run to the 2018 MLS Cup. He's really bulldozing through the postseason, making mincemeat of New York Red Bulls, who were hurt by the injury bug a little bit, with Kamar Lawrence missing the Eastern Conference Finals first and second leg, and then beating Portland Timbers 2-0. And now here comes the foul and the whistle from Cesar Ramos, and now the yellow cards are starting to fly. George Bello, the 17-year-old, baited into that by Luis Diaz, and a more than dangerous set-piece opportunity coming up for Herediano. And Bello just came running up the backside of Luis Diaz, who had a very solid first half as well. The technical staff for Herediano just making sure that Cesar Ramos knew that there needed to be a card issued. Some good signs from Bello in the first half. Didn't have a ton of opportunity on the ball, but did the work defensively and made some good runs to pull some defenders out of position to help out the likes of Joseph Martinez, Barco, and company. Brad Guzan organizing, seems to be happy with the wall. Azo Feifa on the set piece. He's special in these types of situations. Azo Feifa, great ball in, and it's Granados. 3-1 in Herediano. We pick up right where we left off in the first half. Goals and scintillating play galore. How about this ball in from Azo Feifa? Gets all the way through. Atlanta looking for an offside. The initial player for Herediano might have been Keener Brown, but technically not involved in the play. And it gets all the way to Granados. Guzan, nothing he can do about it, because the ball from Azo Feifa is just on a different level. And it looked like it was Gressa who got beat on the backside. And it's Herediano again who have a 2-goal lead, 3-1 on aggregate. However, Atlanta United still have that away goal in their back pocket. 4 goals in 50 minutes. Yes, please. Herediano. Now it's Jimmy Marine again. He whips it across, takes a deflection. And Diaz can just see it out of play. A deep throw-in coming for Herediano. Energy, passion. This is what Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League is all about. Not the warmest of welcoming parties for Atlanta United, but they wouldn't have it any other way. Fuller. It's not a bad idea that it catch Guzan off of his line. No shortage of chances, half chances, or misdirected crosses that almost flowed in for goals in this one. And the owner of Atlanta United, Arthur Blank, looking on. His first taste of Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. And noticing that these boys in CONCACAF, specifically in Heredia, Costa Rica, can play. About to say, surprised that Cesar Ramos is going to let that go on, as the ball was about 15 yards away from where the foul was committed. Remedy able to find Barco, goes out wide for Bello. George Bello whips it in. Doesn't get past the first defender. And Herediano will play out. Good cushioned header. Diaz. Ortiz knocking it through. Fuller able to get there. Guzan slips and recovers to make the play. How sharp are Herediano going forward, especially when Atlanta United have committed numbers forward. Pitti still looking to put his stamp on this game in the second half at least. Saw plenty of the ball in the first 45 minutes. Barco curls it into the path of Bello. Back for Barco. The return for Bello. And a corner coming up for Atlanta United. It was the Barco-Bello show. The 19-year-old lines up the corner. Work to do for Cambronero. And it was a free header. Atlanta claiming that it might have taken a touch, and Miles Robinson and company will have to retreat. In terms of entertainment, and the competitive nature of the round of 16 first legs, this has to be by far the best. PT now has control of it. Trying to go through Pablo Salazar. And Martinez commits the foul. On the most recent goal scorer, Esteban Granados. Granados making his 24th Concacaf Champions League appearance tonight. Diaz bringing it down. Fuller to his right. Diaz on the turn. And a foul right at the edge of the area. It's on Gonzalez Perez. Well, you be the judge at home. Was there contact? Obviously, Diaz got through. Herediano got their third last time they had a set piece in this vicinity. As Azofeifa have more delicious delivery in store. The ageless wonder in Heredia. Azofeifa again. And Salazar couldn't quite meet it the right way. And a goal kick for Braguzan. Video that will most likely be deleted by the majority of the population. Magana. Fuller wants the return. And Bello stepping in. Crucial header. Countering the other way is Barco. Ball glued to his foot, making Granados miss. In for PT, gets around Herediano. And PT taken down, but cleanly. And Cambronaro cleans up the pieces. Boy, this match is flying by. And you have to start to think that Frank de Boer is going to contemplate who the first substitute might be. And same goes for Hernan Medford. Shouts for a handball, not given. Remedy switching the point of attack. PT. Finding Gresso, who's been quiet in the second half, has the Atlanta goal. Lorenowitz. Herediano calling off the dogs, at least for the time being. Remedy. Gressel directing traffic. And thumped away by the Herediano back line. Rapidly approaching the hour mark. And it looks like it's Darlington Nagbe who's getting ready to go. Former Portland Timbers star will come on and replace Barco here in the 59th minute. And Darlington Nagbe will make his Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League debut with Atlanta United. And Barco, who maybe was unfortunate at times, caught a lot of knocks as he was on the ball, an incredible amount tonight. And a pretty solid shift. Remedy showing great strength. He's been a revelation for Atlanta in the middle of the field and really makes them go. And he is all sorts of hot right now with our head official, Cesar Ramos. And Arthur Blank, the owner of Atlanta United, looking on, taking in everything that this match has to offer, which is certainly a lot. As one of the newer signings for Herediano in that winter transfer window, Aldo Magana gets stretchered off here, and that's what the substitution is going to entail, and it's going to be Minor Esco, one of the other 6 signings that Herediano were able to complete during that window, replacing Magana here in the 61st minute. So both Atlanta United and Herediano with 2 more subs respectively. Remedy gives it away. Isco almost came away with it. Long ball sent ahead. Joseph Martinez was there, but so was Kaner Brown. And a long, lanky, outstretched foot was able to get there. As Ofefa switching the point of attack. Great first-time pass into the path of Ortiz. Jimmy Marine racing forward. It is for the 21-year-old. And Gonzalez Perez gets it right as he goes to ground in a dangerous area. Remedy trying to play in Martinez, but the window was closed down quickly by the captain, Pablo Salazar. Mexican Arellano opening up one line of defense. Jimmy Marine curls it into the path of Arellano. Arellano's away. And Gonzalez Perez, another crucial challenge. And he's really settled in nicely after giving Herediano the opening goal in the 8th minute. PT. How good is that? Martinez running with him. PT's still on it. Nagby getting his first touch. Lorenowitz. Remedy joining in on the fun. PT stood up and holding on to that right knee. Atlanta doing a good job of squeezing the ball after losing it and winning it back in a dangerous area. It's Gressel again. Not sure if he was trying to catch Cambronero sleeping back there, but out of play from the German. A little more than 25 minutes remaining in this one. It's been an incredible night and still plenty of football left. Granados, one of the 3 goal scorers for Herediano tonight. And the 1-2 was intended for Ortiz, the latter half of it. Arellano. Look out, Marin on the move. And his shot will go out of play for a throw-in, which isn't exactly what you want to hear as a striker, but it happens. Nagbe. Looking for Joseph Martinez, who has really been shut down by Herediano tonight. And now Gonzalez Perez called for the foul. Well, it won't be 70,000 plus screaming Atlanta United fans in the second leg next week, but closer to about 10 as they'll be in Kennesaw rather than Mercedes-Benz. Just for the round of 16 should they move forward, but right now Herediano in control. The exception of that away goal as Arellano almost snuck through everybody. Miles Robinson got a touch to it. Martinez looking for his Venezuelan compatriot Joseph Martinez as Jimmy Marin putting the moves on again. Marin. Arellano. Back for Marin. He's fun to watch, isn't he? And Julian Gressel's clearly had enough of it. Atlanta have just not had that bite in the final third that we're used to seeing. Now remember, only been together for about a month. New coach, life after Tata Martino and Miguel Almiron. And of course, some not new faces, but not regular faces thrown into the starting lineup as well. Darlington Nagbe on the turn, and ripped down from behind by Fuller. Parkhurst. Renovitz wants it, and he shall receive. Bello with time and space. Closed down quickly now, and Luis Diaz doing well to shield off the 17-year-old and just ushers him and the ball out of play. And it just seems like Herediano have won the majority of their 1v1 battles all over the field. There's been a few exceptions, but it very much is a game within a game. And Herediano doing a very solid job of winning those smaller games. Arellano. Marin. Ortiz. Not through Laronowitz. Granado's pushing it ahead. And Diaz was trying to let it run through. Gonzalez Perez leading the charge the other way. Nobody stepping to him, so he'll take it himself. Gonzalez Perez able to win a free kick, and that's excellent work from the center back. Not what he's paid to do, but it'll work. How about the night that Randall Azofeifa has had? Scoring the second goal, assisting on the third. Connecting the dots on the counterattack and in the build-up for Herediano. It's Luis Diaz getting stretchered off now here in the 69th minute. And that'll warrant probably another substitution from Hernan Medford. It'll be Bernie Montiel. '22-year-old from Guapiles, Costa Rica. Gonzalez Perez trying to pick out Gressel, brings it down with a beautiful first touch and wins a corner for the visitors. Martinez knotted it down and it glances wide. A rare and glaring miss from Joseph Martinez. Well, the ball in from Pitti was choice. And Joseph Martinez, by far his best look of the night, and it goes begging. And Saravia coming on and replacing Luis Diaz here in the 71st minute. 26-year-old is in his 4th season with Herediano. 2 goals on the season. Didn't score last year. And starting to become a regular, either as a starter or a sub, in both domestic play and now international. Well, 20 minutes remaining. Gressel, a good ball forward. Pitti cleaned out from behind. And it'll be a yellow card for the Mexican, Omar Herediano. These Atlanta fans who made the trip have at least seen 1 goal by way of Julian Gressel, but the result right now, not exactly what they were hoping for. Definitely something positive to take back. And these 2 teams square off for the 2nd leg and a right to move on to the quarterfinal next week. Nagbe, Remedy. Pitti just scooping it up over the top. Martinez was trying to turn and hit it. Felt like he was taken down. Cesar Ramos does not share the same sentiment. Good work from Marin again. A maestro on the ball tonight. Marin. Broken up by Gonzalez Perez. He seems to be everywhere defensively for Atlanta. Marin again. What does he have in store this time? Jimmy Marin. Granados. Azofeifa. Azofeifa intrigues Braguzan for just a moment. Get nearly enough, and Nagbe actually might have gotten a touch to it. Remedy ripped down from behind. Goes out wide for Bello. 17 years young, George Bello. Can't get past Saravia, but he wins a corner. Look at the other play where Joseph Martinez thought that he was fouled, and well, it's going to take a certain kind of referee to make that call. There definitely was contact, but more times than not, the whistle will stay out of the mouth of the head official. Argentinian Pitti on top of it. Outswinger, good ball. Cameronero gets a touch to it, but it went out of play before it got back in play. Here, 15 minutes remaining. Only had 1 minute of stoppage time in the first half. We had 3 goals. Just 1 goal in the second so far. And a couple of injuries and stretchers were involved. So perhaps a couple more added on for Atlanta. Still time for them to cut the deficit in half yet again. And give Herediano a few more things to think about heading into the second leg. Herediano off and running again, looking for a fourth. Broken up by Miles Robinson. Almost forced towards Joseph Martinez. Seen that a few times tonight. And it's going to be Hector Villalba coming on and replacing Pity Martinez, who did fairly well in his Atlanta United debut. Had some real moments of creativity and intuition in the attacking third, but nothing on the score sheet, and Villalba comes on here in the 76th. 7 goals, 9 assists a year ago. A year that started out was riddled with injuries and acted as a super sub in the postseason for Atlanta United. Actually debuted for the Paraguayan national team after switching in November of 2018 against South Africa. Saravia. Ortiz, he's had an excellent night. Jimmy Marine, more of the same. Marine somehow sneaks through. And nothing in it. Miles Robinson stood his ground well against the 21-year-old. Nagbe eluding Fuller nicely. Chance for Edgar Lugo. Ringing a little bit through Eladio Rosabel Cordero. Little seam here for Atlanta to play through. Villalba, Nagbe, Bello getting forward. Nagbe wants it himself. Nagbe denied by Cameronero. Back in. And it'll be Atlanta corner. But Daniel Cameronero robbing Darlington Nagbe of Atlanta's second of the night. Check this out. It's a firm paw. And then it was almost an own goal from Herediano. Ensuing corner. Nagbe back out wide for Gressel. And we're going to have a stoppage due to injury here. It's Granados who's down. And you saw the referee, Cesar Ramos, point to his head. But he appears to be all right. About 10 minutes remaining now. Nagbe. Remedy. Too much on it and too close to Cambronero. And he'll usher it out of play. Those are the types of plays where Atlanta United fans might be thinking to themselves, we'll have that sorted out by June or July. The question is, can we have it sorted out within the next 10 minutes or even further next week? And try to push through this first round. And those chants for Edgar Lugo will now be answered. And Lugo going to replace somebody who might not necessarily be all over the score sheet tonight, but had an incredible match and really impressed, and I'm sure turned some heads. Jimmy Marine, voted the best young player in the CONCACAF League, dazzles in the Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League and comes off to a loud and proud round of applause. And on comes the veteran Lugo. Third and final substitute for Herediano. Joseph Martinez holding play up. Parkhurst. Gonzalez Perez. Bello. Nagbe has come on and performed well. Lorenowitz has it blocked. Clever from Lugo, just nods it into space. That one knocked in for Ortiz. Miles Robinson on the case for Atlanta United. Well defended from the visitors. And they do well to build out of the back. George Bello again. Lorenowitz. Pushing it out wide for Julian Gressel. Gressel trying to curl it in, slightly behind Martinez after the deflection. Lugo loses it. Remedy going for the curler. Joseph Martinez challenging, and he's offside. And things starting to heat up once more down the stretch as legs and minds become more and more fatigued. Perhaps a mistake or a chance might come of it. Again, it's Gressel cleaning things up for Atlanta United. Along for Villalba. Gressel getting involved. And it's just a tad behind the German. And it breaks up the attack for Atlanta. Could spark one the other way for Herediano. Well done from Guzan. Running away from Bello, and can't quite keep it in play. And he went flying into the dugout on this near side and at the bottom of your screen. Lorenowitz finding Villalba, room to run. Nagbe brushed off the ball. Villalba had Gressel, but the pass Straight into the defender. Good vision from Gonzalez Perez. Almost ran out of play, but ends up finding the feet of Lugo. Lorenowitz, Bello, Remedy. Maybe one too many touches. Herediano the other way, looking for a fourth. And Gonzalez Perez was too strong in the end. No foul called as he just bullied Keisher Fuller, but Herediano doing just enough right now to try to see this one out and go to the Atlanta area up 3-1. A quick summary of how we got to where we are on the score line tonight. Started with a Gonzalez Perez mistake. Ortiz finished, Randall Azofeifa. 26 minutes later, Gressel would answer right before halftime, and then in the opening moments of the second half, an Azofeifa free kick led to a Granados goal. Lugo laying it off. Here is Granados. Gonzalez Perez got the ball. Referee says play on. Nagbe already been denied once by Cambronero. And it was a terrific denial at that. And Gressel tried to force it through for Remedy. And Ariel Saravia wisely puts on the brakes. And Joseph Martinez has had a more than frustrating evening, and those frustrations just came to the surface for a brief moment, and those were the boo birds that you heard from the Herediano faithful. So in order for Atlanta to move on with this scoreline, it would need to be 2-0 back in the United States, which obviously at home doesn't seem that unreasonable, but they're not at their normal home of Mercedes-Benz, which proved to be a gauntlet. It'll be interesting to see how they fare. Esco sliding it through. Fuller bumped off the ball. Guzan, a diving stop. Fuller still with it, losing Gressel. Standing one up. Gonzalez Perez gets ahead to it, and a corner coming up for Herediano in the 88th minute. Balance and concentration there from Keisher Fuller on full display, but Guzan, a kick save and a beauty. And he knows what a fourth would do, because that means Atlanta would need a 3-0 win next week in order to move on, and that's expecting that Herediano aren't going to get one. And if the first leg is any indication of how the second leg is going to be played out, you'd have to imagine they're going to find the back of the net, but only time will tell. And a goal kick for Atlanta. Parkhurst. A goal now from Atlanta United makes things that much easier heading into the second leg. You can almost consider the night a win. Bello. Lorenowitz Switch the point of attack with Gressel. Villalba in support. And Parkhurst able to get there, wrestling with Ortiz, quite literally. And Herediano first to both 50-50 balls. Lugo on the turn. 90th minute. As Ofefa has been making them go all night long, including scoring a goal and assisting on one to Granados to make it 3-1. 4 minutes to be added on. Groans around Eladio Roosevelt Cordero. Granados. Push that wide for Saravia. Nice little 1-2. Saravia with great venom, still loose in the box. Lugo on the turn. And Darlington Nagbe is fouled. Yellow card for Keisher Fuller. For time wasting. The fourth official having to settle down the Herediano technical area, who were up in arms yet again. And the Herediano faithful starting to sniff a victory. Clear handball on Lugo. Gonzalez Perez responsible for the first Herediano goal. And a misdirected back header pass to Braguzan that was intercepted by Ortiz and chipped over Braguzan in one motion for the opening goal. Bello, Remedy, Lorenowitz. And 75 seconds left now. Gonzalez Perez. And Herediano really sitting in a tight block now. Difficult to break through. Villalba straight at Cambronero. Joseph Martinez picking it up after Remedy barely got a touch to it. Gressel making a gut-busting run. Villalba, it's off the post! That close to having the Atlanta United fans singing all the way back to Georgia. Oh, what an effort. And encouraging signs. As Ofefa is starting to cramp up a bit. Obviously at an inopportune time for Atlanta. Funny how it works out that way. Full time, Herediano victors in the first leg by a score of 3-1. Atlanta United get an away goal through Julian Gressel, but on the night, Herediano might have conceded more possession. However, they were ruthless in the attacking third, punishing Atlanta for mistakes, taking advantage of set pieces. Randall Azofeifa was excellent. Jimmy Marine, while he didn't score or assist, might very well be the man of the match. For our entire crew on site, producer Ryan Rose, replay operator Jake McCloskey, and other producer Manuel Devay, Tyler Terrence signing off saying so long for now. We'll see you next week.